All right, join me right now sitting from his home in Florida, UFC featherweight, Jared Gordon. What's going on, Jared? How's life?
Doing well. Feeling good. Sunday night. Got some good rest today. My family's down here from New York, so I spent the day with my parents, and good day.
That's good, man. That's good. It's important to spend that time with the family, especially with the world and how everything's going.
Yeah, it's especially here in the states. We're like the leader, I think, in COVID cases probably. So, um, but it's Florida and things are pretty loose here, so the only thing that like you really see is people wearing masks. If you go into like supermarkets and stores, people are wearing masks, and they definitely enforce that. If you're not wearing a mask, they're like you can't come in unless you wear a mask. So, but besides that, if you're sitting at a table in a restaurant, no one's wearing masks, which doesn't make sense, and there's no like capacity control, so the restaurants are full to the brim with people, and so, but that, it's just that's America.
Yeah, I call that the American roulette. You know how they have Russian roulette? They have the
Oh
American
yeah,
roulette.
that's funny.
Uh, now, I know your team, man, had a big weekend. Well, actually,
Oh yeah,
yesterday, UFC 257.
yeah.
Chandler, man, he goes out there and just puts the hammers to Dan Hooker. Incredible debut in the UFC. Man, what did you think? Did you
Amazing.
expect that to happen exactly, that left hook?
Um, so at first when Mike walked out, he was happy, looking excited, smiling, lots of energy. Hooker walked out, he looked a little flat, a little. Um, but I think he was also, like I've been here, done this multiple times in the UFC. This isn't a new thing for me, so I think it was more like acting like kind of like the veteran, the UFC veteran guy. Um, but Mike walked him down and played a safe distance, and he's an explosive ball of energy and muscle, and he threw that. He was leading with the right hand to the body a couple times, and then Hooker, walked out to his right after the lead hand to the body and was standing up kind of tall. Well, I mean, he's a tall guy, and Hooker just came upstairs with that left hook and it landed right on the money. And he's a finisher, and he at first I thought he was going to pull for a guillotine because he was on his neck, the front headlock, and then I think you realize like, oh no, let's not. And then he just posted on the head and threw what was it, 10 punches, and Herb Herb stopped the fight. Or it was Herb, yeah. He jumped in and stopped the fight. So got the job done, impressive fashion. Uh, Debut fighting what was he, number 6. Now Mike's going to be ranked, maybe getting a title shot. So yeah, huge for the gym, for Sanford MMA. Then we got Gilbert coming up against Kamaru, who is also a Sanford product, really. And um, so yeah, big start of the year for our gym for sure.
Chandler, he starts his journey in the UFC. Nick Lentz ends his journey in the UFC. He just ends his whole
Yeah.
journey in fighting. A guy that
hmm
the one word you could describe Nick Lentz as is gritty, man. How do you describe him?
Man, he's such a grinder, and in the gym when I spar with him a lot. We're the same weight class, and um, he just goes and tries to get it, man. Like, and there's no giving him really. Like, he took some damage in that fight, and it looked like his eye started bothering him a little
Yeah.
bit. And he previously hurt it. He almost lost his eye and lost his career after his last fight. Um, but that was his 25th UFC fight, and the guy has wins over a lot of high level
Yeah.
competition, and he has fought some of the best guys in the world. He's also 36, and he trades features. He makes a living doing that. He's got a family and kids, and he said that he lost like nearly 40% of his vision in that eye. Uh, I don't know like if he lost it after that last fight and it came back or not. But he said that he can't really see his targets as well as he used to. So, he's a smart guy. He's educated, and I think he realized like, all right, and I think he's coming off. I'm not sure if that was 2 or 3 losses in a row. So I think you got to move on eventually. So I think you made the right choice. But hats off to him.
Mm.
He's a great guy. Once you get to know him, like he's really likable and personable person. And I wish him all the luck. And I hope to see him in the gym soon. Just to get some training in him because he's a genius. Also, he showed me a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, he's a big inspiration to a lot of people, and like you said, I think like he's a guy that will quit. He probably will retire, but he won't stop like training though. I think he's a guy that will come
No,
train and most
yeah,
likely
for
help to
sure.
coach you guys or even just be a training partner for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think he could definitely help up and coming guys big time. He's got so much experience. The guy's been around forever, and
Mm.
he's just gone to war with some of the best guys. So he has a wealth of knowledge, definitely.
Now we saw you in competition once in 2020. Ahead of that fight, you spoke about it, a lot of adversity, but adversity is not something new to you. But was that training camp the most chaotic in your career, though?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've faced other, you know, problems during fight camps before, but this, we were in the middle of the pandemic, the height of the pandemic. Everything was getting shut down. The 3 4 weeks leading up to that fight, I trained by myself 2 3 times a day. I wasn't lifting. I wasn't in the gym, like strength and conditioning. I wasn't hitting pads. I wasn't drilling. Because I was afraid to test positive, and I didn't want to blow my shot to fight. I needed to fight, and I went in there with no coaches, or at least my home team coaches, and I rallied up some guys that I knew, and I went in there and I got the job done. Which I grew a lot from that fight, and I gained a lot of experience, and I proved to myself like I could do this. I could fight at a high level with the cards stacked against me. So with a real camp and my coaches and the right training back at featherweight, that was my first fight back down at featherweight. I think that I know this next one's going to be a lot better.
Did you build a lot of confidence in self-reliance? A lot of guys they rely on other people a lot to kind of create this environment heading into a fight, but you had to create everything on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it was all mental
Mm.
at that point. Like I said, my first fight back in 45, so I didn't know what the weight cut was going to be like. I didn't have my coaches with me. I didn't have, you know, I didn't have a lot of things that I normally would be, tools that I would utilize, like my nutritionist cooking my food for me fight week. I didn't have that. So a lot of things were different. We were all the way in Abu Dhabi, so the jet lag was unreal. And yeah, I've my whole life has
Yeah.
been, will and determination to beat the odds. So um, it was just another obstacle that I was able to overcome and come out victorious.
All right, now upcoming opponent Danny Chavez. He trains down in South Florida at MMA Masters.
Yeah,
Have you ever crossed paths?
I don't believe we have. I've never met him formally, but tough guy, throws heat, loves the calf kick. Obviously, something that we're working on. And this past weekend, watching Dustin, seeing what he did to Connor's leg, I was like, oh god, because he loves that kick. Everyone at MMA Masters, well, everyone down here in South Florida throws that kick. Guys at my gym, ATT, MMA Masters. I don't know why it's a Florida thing, but yeah, he used it really well against TJ Brown, and he goes for it. He goes for it when everything he throws is with bad intentions, and definitely not looking past any of his skills. Seems to me like his three losses were probably were due to grappling. Guys that just out grappled him, and so stylistically, I think it's a good matchup for me. And I know I have more experience than him on the big stage and just in fights in general. So I think it's a great fight for me. I think it's going to be a fun fight because he's scrappy and he's tough and he's good, and he's fast and strong. So, but I'm ready. I'm in super good shape, and I've been putting in the work. So I'm ready to get in there, do what I got to do.
Chavez, he has that fight against TJ Brown. He did really well, dominant performance. When you dissect the fight, when you look at it and you're looking at it from, dissecting your opponent, are you looking more at what his opponent did wrong, or are you looking more at what Chavez did right?
Well, I'm definitely looking at what Chavez does good, what he does well. I'm also looking at the areas where I can capitalize, obviously. So there were certain things that were kind of blaring to me, which I know I can capitalize on, and that's what I'm going to go after. Um, he wants to be on the outside. Um, he doesn't seems like he doesn't really care for the grappling as like for him. Like he doesn't want to try to use his grappling skills to win a fight. He wants to try to hurt you with his strikes. So, um, but I think when you go into a fight with most people, you know what they're looking to do. So it's not anything that I've never seen before. I've seen I fought guys that spin a lot. I fought guys that throw knees and elbows. I fought grapplers. I fought every kind of fighter already. So, um, I have a game plan, and I'm going to try to execute it. And I know if I have to bite down on my mouthpiece and go, I can. And obviously, I want to be smart though and play smart and safe and get the finish.
When you're facing a guy, like you mentioned a spinner, right? Like, is that the worst to prepare for a guy that spins a lot?
Well, I mean, it's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what he's going to, it could be a spinning, you see that shoulder turning. You don't know if it's going to be a spinning kick or a spinning back fist or, who knows what he's thinking. So, yeah, I mean, it's just unpredictable. You just got to do certain things to eliminate the chances of those kind of strikes landing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with my style, I'm not like fighting you from the outside. So I think you have to really gauge your distance perfectly in order to land a really devastating strike like that. Anything could happen, obviously, but I think it's not like it's just unpredictable. But so is MMA in general is unpredictable. Yeah. I've done things where I've gone into fights where I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I had a fight where I was like, all right, I'm not going to kick at this guy at all. Like, I don't want to, because I saw that he was taking everyone down off of kicks. And then I was like, I'm going to box this guy and wrestle him. And then I go into the fight and he starts outboxing me. And I'm like, and I was like, screw it. And I threw a head kick and I knocked him out with the head kick. And I was like, so after the fight, my coach was like, oh, we're not going to train any kicking. I'm not kicking at all this fight. And then I go and I win with the head kick. So, like, you never know what someone's going to do. That's the beauty of MMA, though, I think.
Well, this is your second straight camp for a featherweight fight. Your last one, you said you were doing all on your own. This time around must be completely different.
Yeah, I mean, so my first camp, I was in the gym the first month or whatever it was, and then COVID started getting bad, and a lot of guys were testing positive at my gym. So I was like, all right, I just got to steer clear. So I got a lot of work in with my coaches and teammates. Before that, it was just the last 3-4 weeks of camp I was on my own. So this camp has obviously been every day in the gym with my coaches and doing things, fixing things, and dialing in on the things that I need to get better at and the things that I'm already good at. So
what about the beach workouts? Is that something new that you guys have incorporated, or have you guys always been doing that?
Yeah. So we're in the gym twice a day, 5 days a week at Sanford. And then guys strength and condition, and they do, their runs, their cardio. So Saturday we usually were in the gym also Saturday morning, but we decided, or the coaches decided to do like a beach workout. We run a bridge back and forth over a really, really big bridge. For cardio, then we just move around on the beach, do drills on the beach. We have the sun and the sand and the beach, and why not use it? It's beautiful. It's a breath of fresh air, literally and figuratively, instead of going back into the gym on Saturday morning. And then, so yeah, we've been doing that for the last like 6 weeks now, I think.
Like, who have been the guys in the trenches with you closely?
I was before this weekend, I was training a lot with Nick and Chandler. I've been in the gym a lot with. Herbert was in the gym a lot, but he went over there with Nick. Gilbert, Sean Soriano's been in the gym, helped me a lot. Adam Borix, um, a bunch of guys. I mean, we have a lot of regional guys too who are really good, athletic fighters that, are unorthodox, who throw, crazy striking and, unorthodox strikes where it's good for me to get in there and try to get that timing and, different kinds of bodies. So it's been an array of guys, and I think that it's definitely sufficient for my camp.
After your last fight, you felt like you said in the post-fight press conference that you felt like it was a little bit boring. How do you visualize this fight coming up?
I mean, I think everyone knows my game plan. I want to hit you most likely with my hands and then try to take you down and ground and pound. I know I possess a skill set that most people don't. A lot of people don't even know like the kind of numbers that I put up. I'm like ranked top 5 in UFC history, excuse me, for ground and pound strikes. I'm above George St. Pierre. I'm below Kamaru, then Khabib, then Tatiana Suarez. With people that have 5 or more fights in UFC. And I put up volume. My last fight though, I just felt flat. I didn't have like the pop in my strikes. I looked slow. I felt slow. But that was more or less like I just got to get the job done tonight because of all the circumstances and everything I was going through. But I won that fight really dominantly. And I think like one of the judges gave me 30-20, it was 30-26 in one of the judges' cards. And the rest were 30-27, I think. So, I mean, yeah, it was a little boring, but I dominated. This one, I'm just trying to throw with more bad intentions, be sharper and move better on my feet. And, I have more knockouts than I do submissions or anything like that. So I know I have the power in my hands and I know I have the ability. So, I'm looking for a finish just like everybody else is. And that's what I plan on doing.
All right, one last question before I let you go. Let's say you are at the top of the totem pole in Las Vegas at the commission. What do you change for this year? What rules or judging or anything that you can change that the commission is in control of? What would you change?
Man, that's a good question. First off, if I was in the Vegas commission, I would think, obviously I don't smoke weed or anything, but I think they got to get rid of, fining and suspending guys for weed. I know USADA has, but the commissions haven't fully changed their rules yet. So that would be one thing, because I think it's ridiculous to fine people for smoking weed, especially if it's like a minuscule amount of levels in your system. But what else? Maybe how, the rounds are, the fight is scored. If you like out wrestle, say we go into a fight, hypothetically, any 2 guys go into a fight, and the first 2 rounds are close. Maybe one guy kind of like out wrestles one other guy like a little bit more, but there wasn't really any significant damage. And then the guy that's losing goes into the 3rd round, drops the guy, starts beating him up. He's all bloody. He's the fight ends and he's wobbling. I think it should be kind of like ONE FC, how the whole integrity of the fight is judged, and how one person looks versus the other, how the fight ends, like how are the fighters, how's the fighter's body language? Is one guy on the corner like laying on the floor, or is the other guy, on top of the cage with his hands up? So, but like that could also lead to other problems. But I think like when I watched Johnny Hendricks fight George St. Pierre, and you watch the post-fight press conference, Johnny doesn't have a mark on his face, and George's whole face is battered and bruised, and it's like, how are you gonna I thought Johnny won that fight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could go different ways. But I think they also need to start getting better judges. I think that you can't have like a guy who's older or male or female who's just been a boxing judge their whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're not looking at wrestling and grappling. They don't know what's going on. I think they need like ex-veteran fighters be the judges. I think that would make it way more like true, and it would just be like more sincere judging instead of just like, oh yeah, that guy kind of was winning on the feet and I like boxing more, so like, yeah, I'm going to give him the round. Because that's how it looks like it happens sometimes. Like, how about Khalil Roundtree and that other, I forget his name, the Polish guy.
Marcin.
I thought Khalil, I didn't even bother to watch the decision because I just walked away from the TV because I was like, all right, Khalil won.
Yeah.
And then I hear Marcin, whatever his last name is, and I was like, what? And my coach was with me, and he was like, what the hell were they watching?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think we need better, more experienced judges. I think that's like one of the biggest things.
I think like guys that are veterans, like a Matt Brown, he seems like he might be done. He would be a perfect judge. Nick Lentz would be a great judge.
Right.
You know, guys like that. Why don't the UFC just pick those guys up and have them fly out and judge fights that are not, you know, there's no connection to them. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
yeah,
like
give them like a salary, like.
Exactly, man.
Where these
Why
guys
not?
like have something to do after fighting.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. You just created a new job for the retired fighters, man.
Come on, dude.
Let's do it.
Jared, it should be just the Jared Flash Gordon Commission, overruling UFC, Bellator, and ONE FC.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, February 20th, man, UFC Fight Night, Las Vegas. Big fight coming up for you. You know, I feel like this is kind of your true featherweight debut in the UFC. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
man.
bro. Because the last thing was a joke.
All right, man, Jared, man. I appreciate it.
I look back at it all, and I'm just like, what the? How the hell is it possible?
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason, so.
No doubt, man. Well, Jared, thank you so much, man, for the time. Always good catching up with you, and good luck, man, and good luck on the rest of the year.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Take a move in the ring. You can hit me with a word you feel.